Welcome to the voice of the sacred masculine on this special, magnificent solar return. I welcome my dear brother, Paul Luftenegger. Wow, what a gift, what an honor, and most important, what a celebration to have you on your solar return. Thank you, brother, for being here today.
I'm so grateful to be here, and I can't even begin to tell you how perfectly aligned this is for today. So thank you so much for doing this. It's a special day.
And it's great because I love how divine timing works out, because I remember I was getting a late start and I was messaging you, and then when you told me it was your birthday, I was like, oh, because most people on their birthday, it's like they want to celebrate, they want to have their time. But for you to take this time really in honoring and celebrating yourself, celebrating your day, your incarnation, your presence that has brought so much to this world during a time that I feel that vibration and frequency is really here to lift what we're moving through. And so it's such a blessing that we can bring this celebration energy. We can bring this divine love energy that you naturally voice in the grace of your heart. And so it's like I said, it's such a gift that I feel not only a celebration for your birthday today, but the celebration of life.
Yes. And it's funny, like just the way that has just aligned too. I feel like I'm being reborn. My birth actually was, I think, at 7 o'clock at night. I've asked my mom. Okay. So I feel always called to do something really special on my birthday. And I feel like the 24 hours before and then your birth and then 24 hours after are really important to how you sort of spend that time. So I always try to do service in some way on my birthday. So last year I did a concert actually in Vancouver in Canada. And this was perfect when you asked. And I just thought it was so funny. Your first date was my birthday. Yeah. So that's a sign, you know.
And how are you feeling? So give us, like, for all those that are watching, because I know there's a lot of beautiful, dear fans of yours. There's some dear brothers and sisters that are probably like, wow, we got Paul right now on his birthday. Here we are at 1 o'clock. How does it feel, brother? You've woken up. You're at the magical age of 44, which blessings, because I'm 44. So it's a reflection of this love that I'm just grateful to have. How do you feel today? How's this been day? How's it gone for you so far today?
So I think, most importantly, I feel it's really interesting today. We just went into another lockdown in Canada. So it's sort of this interesting time. It's auspicious times on the planet. We know this. So I feel it's interesting that on my birthday, the restrictions just actually sort of went sort of broad across our province in Ontario, where I am. And it's sort of interesting just to wake up, and at the same time, with all this stuff going on in the world, I think it's such a cleaning out, focused time right now. So I feel sort of strong in my cleanliness. I feel stronger in my conviction of doing this work. And I think being 44, I feel like I've been prepared, to reach this moment. And I've had visions about this birthday for many, many years now. And I think it's interesting that it's finally here. I celebrate my age every year because I'm so grateful. Every day is a rebirth. I say, this day is blessed and I will be glad and rejoice in it every day. But this birthday is sort of like that master birth again. I knew that after my dad died 10 years ago, when I started this work publicly, that I remember the message from my team saying, you'll need 10 years. Wow. And that's now. So I'm in a 10-year anniversary of that. So this is also 44 rebirthing in that Ascension sort of next cycle. So it's perfect. And I love that you asked, because oftentimes I love women, I love women and I support women 100% always. But I love that you asked. And I think being, the way that you position this really with this work is that you are a divine masculine energy. And I really want to honor that in you, because I think that we're in a time where, divine masculine supporting divine feminine and being one. And that's really what this is all about for me right now. So I feel great sort of about I think just having this blessing from you on my birthday. So thank you.
And it's been beautiful because it's almost like I feel like it's my birthday. You know, like when you can celebrate one's birthday and then you feel their love, and it's like, wow, 44, because 44 has been a magical year for me. It's been a year, as we know, of prosperity. It's been a year of many challenges and tests, but it's almost like the energy of the 40s really took off in
Yeah.
that mid-level of 40s, because life really started to bring forth what we've been calling for. And that masculinity and maturity, I felt, has really flowered in that lotus opening up and really allowed that opportunity to come forward. And before I go deeper, I just want to also honor, for those that are joining and those that are seeing, there's a beautiful, amazing, incredible campaign that you're announcing on your birthday. And I just want to give honor and gift, because it is a gift that I feel through your sacred voice, your amazing heart, and just your expression that comes through you. Before we get into the juice of all that's going to come through, I also just want to bring forth that gift that I feel you're so gracefully sharing, because it is a campaign that, as you've spoken about 10 years ago, to bring forward this. So if you'd like to speak a little about what you're bringing forth in this campaign on your birthday, you have
Yeah.
the floor, brother.
So I didn't expect you to ask that. So I've basically what I've been called to do this year, and I have been sort of waiting for the right time, and I knew that it would come when it was ready. But I had a vision many months ago about this, but then it really came through to do this on my birthday. And it's, you know, it's a campaign for 2021. It's a kindness project for essentially love, divine love from our heart and our soul with the beloved. And it's to ask for $20,000 actually with this project. And it's an opportunity to co-create. That's really what all of my music has been created with co-creation in mind, where it's not really about a record label. It's actually about people getting involved with their heart to create something that's capable of reaching essentially anyone in the world. And the music industry is a very funny, bizarre engine. So what I've decided to do is do my work this way, because I feel, you know, I can stream it. It doesn't really make my person really doing that way, but the way that this is really an opportunity is for people to get involved with their heart and to co-create something that is capable of telling someone else that they matter. And I think that we're on this trajectory right now where I believe deeply that these times we've all been prepared for. We're not here just randomly. This is not, you know, this isn't just a little random act of life. This is actually very aligned, is the word I would use, very centered, very much a part of our divine timeline to be here on the planet right now. And we're in a time of really great change. And this is, I believe that co-creation is really the next great thing, and where we get to co-create together the kind of world that we want to experience as a humanity. So my work is really to really embody that beautiful essence of that purity within us, that is an eternal soul here incarnated to serve. So that's my project. I actually had this beautiful First Nations sister friend of mine donate $500 this morning, which just really touched my heart. And we just reached over 1,000 for the, you know, in this week. And I know that, you know, over time, that money will basically be asked for until March the 6th, which is the 10-year anniversary of my father's suicide. So that's that.
And I wanted to bring that forward because it connects to me when I really, you know, I knew who you were and I know the magic. And when this whole craziness started of the 10 days of kindness and really diving into it, is when I really got to see the platform of what you were doing. And I was just motivated to jump into the kindness. It was Jason Estates. He was bringing forth that during that. And I just saw the love that you were expressing in your words, the passion that you had. And when you see a man, a being, a beautiful soul express this love, this joy, it just brings that deep gratitude in your heart that there are those that are out there that have this passion in service to help serve. Because each day that I look at my life, especially now, I thank the opportunity for being here, for being the fullest expression of what's coming forward. And you said it. we've all been incarnated during this time in this great awakening to shine. And I feel this is the time really to shine our greatest love, to shine our greatest light. And when I hear you, when I see you, when I feel your words, it's this divine nature. And I guess my first question I would love to ask is what inspires you? Because when you write and the words come out, there's that vibration that comes out. When you sing, there's that beauty and grace. But do you feel there's been an inspiration, whether it's been as a child or it's been growing, that just gives you that natural heart activation to share that love through your beautiful service of the world?
Yeah, it's kind of such a big process to figure this out, and I, for anyone that's out there, doing whatever it is they're doing, my experience has been uniquely mine. I know yours is yours and everybody has theirs. So I want to just say that first, because there's no way to figure it out other than through yourself.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately that's that self-love and self-worth. But the thing that, my real inspiration, and I say this with humility, is really God. I have no, just this past year, I really came clear on saying, I know where I come from and I know where I'm going. Because that's one understanding that I can safely say I understand now. I didn't really get that for a long time. I was confused being a human being. I came out with a billion questions, out of the womb, 44 years ago, kind of going, where are we? And I've been doing that all my life. But 10 years ago, God sort of really initiated a call of really calls. And much like the priesthood, I was called to serve God. And once you have God visit you that way, you can never be who you once were, because you kind of know where you come from and you know where you're going. And, it took me some time to get the spiritual chops or the strength to talk about it. I didn't know how people would respond. I'm a little bit left of center, a little different than the average person. And I would actually say, ultimately, I am an ascension guide. That is really what I am, which means, to define that for me, means that I help support people be their highest self and manifest. And that's with the truth, the light, and the way. And there's no wrong way. It's all based on love. And it has to come from your heart. And you have to open that up in some form of service in action. And I believe deeply that that's kind of where we're at. So my great inspiration is serving the beloved in that way, with humility. So, yeah.
And that I feel is the capital I in will, because when we touch that sacred space, and whether it's through traumatic experience, whether it's through any moment that we have direct contact with it, you said it so gracefully. There is no going back, because you've received that, and there's only moving forward in what our God-given level is to express that. And even myself, growing up in a spiritual family, sometimes the word God or source would trigger so many people outside of us, right? And it's like, God, what's God? Because it's almost been desensitized of what hasn't God done for me, or why is this not happening? So I've shifted to source or universe, and it's beautiful to meet another sacred brother that I so resonate with you, because I feel I'm an ascension guide, an alchemist that's here to bring forth and help people see that light within them, see that they are becoming empowered just by being that love and radiating that without any attachment, expectation, but sharing it from the source of our hearts. So God bless you for what you're sharing and what you're doing, because I know that journey very well. I grew up in a very Bible beltway in a conservative county. So even though it was blessed, it was interesting how it was spoken very highly, yet not practiced. Right. And now I feel we are embodying this and bringing it forth in our great adventure and journey to be here. So thank you, brother.
So beautiful. I just have to tell you, just when you're saying that too, it's so funny how you know, I keep saying all these miles later, when you finally get it, it's just like, oh, and it's such a relief because you get to sort of just relax a little bit more. And I so resonate with what you just said. So thank you.
And I was even called, like, you know, living split energy. I had to travel the world. I was in Bali one day, and a dear shaman came to me. He's like, why are you living in split energy? And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you have all this God presence, but you're not living it. And I'm like, well, yes, I am living. And he's like, come on. She's like, you're not expressing it, because I felt like I was kind of in the closet. Like I could share it in ways where people could hear it, but I wasn't living it through my action. And I feel,
and that's the thing. That's the great, once you start doing that. And the thing that even this morning, it's funny, we went for a walk before, I worked out and did my meditation stuff and then went for a walk. I really wanted to go for a walk before this. And it's funny, on the walk, every single like license plate was my birthday. It was the weirdest thing. Like I kept laughing. Like every single thing I saw was my birthday numbers, like almost every car. And I kept saying to my husband, I was like, that's like, even for me, that's even more wild. But we're living in a time, I always say that God sort of supports you in 360 degrees all around you. And it's our only job is to pay attention to what's showing up and to work with what is showing up in a way where we get to basically kind of communicate with heaven, really. I mean, whatever you want to say, on earth. And you're supported and you're loved, and God is kind and loving and there to support you in this life as you co-create with the Creator. So I love that you just shared that and that you know. So yeah.
Isn't it fun sometimes when you get those little messages? It's kind of like that little kind of scratch on the shoulder where you see the license plate, you see those signs, because really, you know what it is? It's God loving you as the Godhood, Goddess that's coming through. And it's that reminder to pay attention, just to be present. And I'm sure as you're walking around, you're in joy, you're in happiness, and you're in celebration. And isn't it fun when we're in that vibration, where all of a sudden that joy it's that beaming, pulsating energy that comes outwardly. And then what happens when we're just present, we start picking up those other pieces that are shining right back to remind us that stay present, stay in love, stay in peace, even though as we know, we're living in countries that are trying to pull us from there and move that from there. But because it's your birthday, and I'm sure that you're going to have many wishes for today, but if you had, just for what we're going through, for everyone to hear so you can express it in co-creativity, do you have a birthday wish for humanity in this world right now? Like, is there something that, like, you know, if you look at this time right now and it's like, wow, here I am, 44, I'm celebrating, and now I'm going to open my heart, I'm going to express, and trust me, Paul, you have infinite answers, so don't feel pressured on anyone. But if there's something in your heart that's like, wow, I get to express in front of thousands, and let's just say millions, because let's open it up. Let's see how far the video goes into all the angels and team above that are watching and hearing. What is your birthday wish for 44 magnificent years of beautiful love and light in this world for you?
You know, truthfully, my wish, and I went through, I mean, I often live in the wish sort of vibration, if you will, the creation vibration, the imagination vibration, because I think anything that you think and with the will of God can be. So my real time and my real wish for actually myself is actually for other people to actually find the love that's within. And I think, you know, I always say that there's 8 billion worlds going on right now on planet Earth. There's 8 billion people. And I think that we've done a really big job of understanding that there's 8 billion worlds, but I think it's time to recognize that it's one planet, one crew, one humanity. And that particular wish is for everyone to sort of clear the veils that separate the divine that is within you, where there's no third party. It's you and your sovereignty with the beloved. And that particular relationship is really genius. And it's funny, in my meditation this morning, and I will touch on this because I feel like in my birthday sort of vibration, they were sort of showing me these visions of what's sort of going on right now. And this artificial intelligence conversation,
Yeah.
they
Exactly.
were showing me that there's a divine intelligence conversation to be had. And that sacred divine, it isn't artificial, it's divine intelligence. And that's the one for me that I wish for everyone to experience with their heart and opening up to the heaven that actually needs to be opened from within you. And I think that once you clear that up, I believe that the energy flows so much more powerfully, because we're never meant to diminish that beauty that pure essence of love is. And I heard you speaking, I watched something of yours, I think yesterday. Time sort of melts together sometimes, but I think it was yesterday. And you were talking about just that pure essence of your heart. And, this is the time for that. And my wish is for everyone to just really love themselves more.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you. It was after working a full day of clients, and I just kept feeling the message from the upper plane
Yeah.
is to love yourself as we love you, as the divine loves you, because we have no clue really in this thick, dense world of how much universal divine love that we are supported. And with each client, they were saying, remind them to love themselves as the divine loves them. Remind them to support themselves as we, the divine, supports them, because it's this knowingness
Yeah.
in that divine intelligence. And I appreciate, I'm so thankful you spoke about a divine intelligence, because that to me has been my medicine for every single hardship, challenge. I mean, we're on the edge of DC here. Thank gosh, not in it, but the density is so thick.
Big.
The energies of separation and division is pulling. Even the media. I used to watch the media to see the story behind the media, just to watch the body language of what's the real message behind it. But I can't even do that anymore, because it's just getting so abrasive. Yet when we come back to that divine intelligence into the heart, I
Yeah.
feel that's what gives us our truth. And when you spoke about that, I'm so grateful for those that are listening, that that is the fullness of our trust that we can start tapping into each and every day, because that's how me and my beloved start every day. We start in that prayer to feel that divine connection. And then everything outside of it is a mirror and reflection of what's happening within, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that oneness. And the thing that's really beautiful about, I think, where we're living right now, just these times, I actually think, we have to find the silver lining, or the rainbow in our clouds right now, as Maya Angelou used to always say. And I just think that, it's hard for some people right now to find that, at times. And I understand a struggle. I get it. But I do think that the one thing that we always do is we underestimate our power to find the rainbow. And there's always a rainbow.
Yeah.
And if you can find it, what's really beautiful is there is a pot of gold, or something that is going to help you really, add to your toolbox to help you thrive. And I really believe, the more I've done this, every time I've had a challenge in these last 10 years, when I've sort of surrendered to God, to serve God that way, I really feel that we oftentimes just simply forget to pray. And if you pray, there will be a solution, and we have to work the miracle. It isn't just something that you get to just pray for. You have to work it, and you have to pay attention. So I really just, I don't want to sort of, I don't want to bypass the challenge, but at the same time, I think that, these sorts of conversations are the ones that actually help people get through the challenge by reminding people how to do it. So I love that you brought it up, and I just wanted to open it up a bit more to the how.
And it's great to mention that challenge, because many of us can look at it in different paradigms, especially upon the spiritual community, where a lot of people's like, it's not all love and light. And I'm like, yes, it's not all love and light in the third dimension, because there's a lot of fear. And I'm grateful that you mentioned prayer, because that is what I feel is our God-given drive to embody what we're here to share. And to really, what I feel now is, to our dear sisters and brothers that are being in challenging moments, to the ones that are suffering, is to even open our hearts more, to even give more compassion, to let go of the judgment, to let go of the separation, and just remember that you being you, me being me, and just our presence of sharing these messages by our smile, by our ability to listen, gives that permission for others to feel that vibration, to help them lift, to know we're all exactly where we are on our journey.
Yeah.
And it gives us that permission to say, okay, how can I be the fullest expression of the God within, and allow that? Because I almost consider my morning meditation my morning prayer, because it starts out in my prayer to all the gods, to all the angels. And I'll tell you, I always look for the rainbow, because even in the sky when it's not raining, have you noticed this?
Yeah.
And there's a magical moment. If you look through the clouds, sometimes you'll just see the fragments
All the time.
and the colors. And you look, and I look up and I'm just like, thank you. Thank you for reminding me that they are out there always supporting us. And we just have to believe in it, because I grew up as the weird one, believing magic, right? I looked for the pot of gold. I would chase the rainbow and say, where's the magic out there? Because I want to live a magical life.
I love it. Me too.
It's like, and I feel like that's the divine nature of our magic. And when we can bring that forward, it allows it. And it's an honor to finally connect from one magical person to another magical person, and to lead the magic into another realm that I feel that many are blessed upon, is your voice. And I know you're humble, and I know that there's that nature of what you've brought forward. But in my healing practice, I work with a lot of people with their fifth chakra, which is interesting because it's like our connection to the fifth dimension of our expression. Yeah. And for those that I feel, especially men, because there's sometimes a blockage in this chakra, and sometimes there's this challenge of voicing our truth. But what I find so incredible about musicians is there's this truth that comes out, especially when you're in that aligned state that you're doing what you love and you're expressing what you love. And I was curious, as a musician, as a beautiful being that shares so much, for others that are hearing and watching, have you developed or seen practically, personally, any tools that have helped open this up? Because I feel a lot of us, we want to express, but right here is kind of our clincher of blocking that. I didn't know through your journey, through how you've moved through it, because I know in my journey at fourth grade, they made me sing the American song. I forget the name of it, but I couldn't reach it. So I couldn't go to chorus. I played an instrument instead. So I was put on the spot and had a traumatic injury of like, I can't sing because I was too afraid to express my truth. But for you, when you express, what has helped you through your journey in opening this up?
So that's a really good question. So the first part of it, to answer the first part of it for someone else, I think it's really important, and I feel intuitively to say this. So this is sort of bigger than me.
Sure.
I feel like the first thing that we have to understand is we have to understand sort of where the throat is located, and people don't even think about this. So it's really important to note this, because it's really interesting when you start looking at the body anatomically. And I've studied science and physiology, actually. So I really sort of had like a mapping given to me through physiology. And it wasn't really planned per se. I just ended up taking a course of physiology in my program. So anyways, the third eye is here, right? We know this. It's very important to understand what that is. It's also where the endocrine system, or all of the hormones, sort of with gravity flow down, okay? So it goes from the third eye down to essentially the thyroid to the adrenal cortex of the kidney, and then down essentially ultimately to the kidneys or the ovaries. So that flows natural. It's interesting that the voice is here between the heart and between the third eye. And it's even so much the crown, because this is important. This whole area is really important to get clean and clear on. So the throat, if your heart is not clean or healed to some degree, it is hard to speak with truth. Mm-hmm. And I remember, the heart, being human, has been traumatizing. This is the truth, right? It has been traumatic to experience or witness some of the horrendousness to be here. And I think it starts from our childhood. So I think one of the greatest things that you can do is to do a life review. When I go back to 2011, when God started showing me sort of what I needed to do to kind of clean up. I didn't read books to do that. I actually went to God. And you have to clean up your heart. because, and it starts with following it. So if it whispers to you, you start listening and doing it. No questions asked. You have to make a commitment. And no matter what happens from it, your heart starts to heal. And when your heart starts to heal, it opens up your throat to allow you to speak your truth. And then you get to use your divine mind with the beloved. So we live here. I think that when we're a kid, we live here. Then we switch to here because everybody tells us who we are and we forget who we are. And then we have to remember who we are, which is back to here. And then when this opens up as an adult and a child together, then you get to sort of speak with the truth. And that's what I would say opens the throat up to, I think, ultimately be the vibration that you are. And it's interesting with people don't really understand what music really is with the voice. And what the voice is it's the soul having basically a vibrational connection to another soul. And I think that it's a sacred technology that people have dumbed down hugely. And it's even dumbed down so much by our industry of music, which needs to and will change. But really what singing is it's connecting your heart, your third eye with the beloved in communication with another sacred soul with the beloved. And that relationship is what and how I met you. And people don't really think about it too much, but I would never know you and you would never know me if it wasn't for our voice. This is the truth. Because we know how to communicate from our soul, and we have a vibrational intelligence, divine intelligence that knows how to communicate with our heart and our soul. And everybody that I know around the world is because I shared my heart and soul with truth, with the light, with the beloved. And I was speaking to somebody, I know people all over the world. So people have written me messages from all over the world today. And I just told someone, I said, isn't it amazing that somehow we know each other out of 8 billion people, because that's the power of our love. And when you look at it that way, that's the power that we have. And I'm not really unique. If you find something that moves your heart with your truth, you can reach the world. So I just really, I really like to remind people that the soul is very powerful with the voice, because ultimately it's one.
And it's the power of love that I feel is the gift that can be expressed through music, because that vibration is what connects us all. I grew up with a father that, bless him in heaven, past 2 years, he has thousands of 33rd and 3rd records in our house, and they're sitting there. And growing up and listening to his foundation of his love through the blues, through jazz, through classic rock, through disco, through all the generations of the purity, when music really came out, and when it was pure in the lyrics and the vibration, it was our direct connection within our love for each other, because wherever we would go, he would have albums taped from these records that would show his love and his happiness. And so it brought me into this world of how powerful that vibration not only echoes through us, but how we can share it. And when we share it through our heart, I feel like it's that golden thread that connects all of us through the world. And like you said, it's an honor when we can think of 8 billion people throughout the world, and each and every one that's watching today, we're feeling that vibration of love. And I hope to believe it's this collective domino where we share that love, and then that love keeps going around and around through this world, even during the most difficult, dense, challenging times. Because I don't know how you're feeling from your guides, but I keep feeling in my meditations, this is the time, no matter how dense it is, to keep expanding the love through our physical, our emotional, our mental, our spiritual body, because it's vibration, right? And as we keep raising our frequencies in consciousness, we're here to raise that vibration through our heart in any which way. If it's our voice, if it's our dance, if it's our smile, it's our time to emanate that in our most natural, fun-loving, compassionate, joyful way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, like just even, you just saying that too, like we are really at that time where that is exactly what is I think, being asked of us, really. And I think, you know, more than anything, I trust where we're at. And you know, although it's been hard, there's been so many things that have been shown to me. One of the things right now that I'm experiencing with my guides, and I haven't really shared a lot of the things that I've been going through. So this is an opportunity to just speak to one thing. I know the thing that I haven't understood very well myself is the subtle bodies. And I'm really, quite frankly, I'm an incredible medium. But I'm trying to find languaging to help other people sort of figure it out right now.
Sure.
And the thing that I'm getting languaging on is the subtle bodies. And the subtle bodies are the ones where I think we haven't done a very good job of talking about the subtle bodies. And that's where we get to sort of use our whole senses together to really fine tune what we're capable of actually receiving from our, essentially, the other side, or through the veil. And it's through the subtle body that I think we're at that time where I think that we're capable of tuning into the subtle body. And, you know, with all this noise in the world, with everybody sort of, you know, in many ways freaking out,
Right.
we're going to miss the subtle body. So I really think that it's important to get a spiritual practice of some description. And it can be as easy as just, you know, closing your eyes for a minute and just going to your heart. Or listening to a beautiful song that supports you, or, you know, taking the time to pray for someone else that will make you feel really beautiful. And there's this connection that starts to happen with your subtle body that I think is really important right now. So I love these times. I trust them, and I celebrate, I think, holding hands. And the way I see it too, really clearly, is that we're leaving a treasure trail behind us of light, right, of consciousness, of caring. And maybe there'll be some people that watch this in a replay down the road that will pick up on all of our energies, that where we connected our hearts and our souls, and they'll feel that love, and they'll feel supported, and they'll go, hey, that's what I'm going through. Or perhaps we'll inspire them to look at something perhaps a little differently. And that's our collective co-creative energies sort of working with the beloved. And I see more and more of that treasure trail sort of holding hands together with the light. And these two worlds ultimately that have been sort of, you know, fear and love just, you know, doing this thing. What's happening is the love's being chosen by everybody, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the other bit's just going to dwindle away more and more and more. And then we're going to become a world of love that's very different than what we've experienced so far in the last 1,000 years.
So beautifully expressed, brother. Thank you for saying that,
Yeah.
because I feel it's these, I used to say, like, it's like these popcorn seeds, but
Yeah.
what you express adds a magnificence to the golden trail, because isn't it for each of us to listen, to receive, and to trust our intuitive guidance to where we're being brought forward? And just by that frequency of what we're hearing, we can feel it and trust it, because I honor this. But as you know, in these 44 years, I feel like so much energy has been placed toward this. It's almost like, how can we overstimulate our central nervous system so that this is like wrapped around the mind, right? It's like so overstimulated, where I almost play the game where, is the central nervous system in control, or our parasympathetic nervous system, because it's been fight or flight. Like we haven't been able to like stop and be like, well, if I just breathe and I feel, then I can relax this, because there's the higher mind, the divine mind. But what I would say my challenge has been to let go of that part of the mind, that rational mind that's just been so overeducated, overly stimulated, so I can feel what's coming through. And I hope to believe we can trust that feeling by coming back to that awakening of the heart, because I know we've moved into this age of Aquarius. We're moving into the golden age. And to me, I believe it's a shift from the intellectual era, where sophistication of IQ, and not that that's not important. It's very beautiful to have the intellect, but I believe one day we're going to be living directly from the heart, where every action is going to be valued, respected, honored, and supported through love. And now it's that time, which you so elegantly said, it's recognizing that heart of listening to it, feeling it, and really washing away some of the areas of fear that's on top of it that I express to my clients. Love the fear. Bring the fear in and see what we can do to help dismantle it.
Mm.
So it's been beautiful to see how that is. I'll personally say it's not been an easy trip.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, 44 years hasn't been like a walk in the park and be like, okay, well, maybe the next 44 years we can start moving through it. So I'm starting to navigate personally is when those limiting factors come up or those limiting portions come up, how to navigate through that. And I didn't know in these times, especially 2020 and 2021, have you noticed for those and for men or for women that are going through this and their limiting factors, their limited parts, which we're dissolving in our beliefs, our conditions and programs, has there been any processes that have helped you work through them, transform them? Because I feel we can speak about the grace and the love, but there's also the part where we're doing a lot of dismantling, not only on the outward exterior nature, but also inward. And a lot of these old limited conditioned beliefs, which are not good or bad, right or wrong, they're here dissolving, but they also sometimes have an attachment, a suffering nature. And I didn't know in your beautiful realms of, here you are, 44, your mastery of, if there's been, for those listening, a process that's helped you to transform those limiting beliefs, factors, and conditions.
Yeah, so I think I've spoken about this many times to so I have quite a few clients that I've had over the years, and I sort of go through waves where I have a batch of lots of people, and then it flows sort of as it's meant to. But one of the constant things that sort of comes through in a lot of the work that I do is to do a life review, and I sort of touched on this before, but I will share the biggest thing that I've ever done in my life is to do this life review. And it's something that takes however long it's meant to.
Mm-hmm.
But God showed me in 2011 to go back to basically my mother's womb. Okay. And to sort of come out of that womb in meditative state, in some description, to go through my life, essentially with God, one moment at a time. And this is the biggest thing that I've ever done to clean up as a tool to use and to connect, I think, ultimately my heart and my soul with the beloved.
Sure.
So I went through sort of, a lot of times through my grief. So my father hung himself, which was really brutal. It's one of the most, to see the life person that gave you your life hanging by a rope was the hardest thing that I never thought I could heal from. And the truth is, I'm not big enough to heal on my own. What is, though, is God. So where you feel you don't have strength, you go to God. And this is not a little message. This is really where we're at. You need to recognize that it's not just you, and you are supported with something that is always present for you. So doing this life review with God was really beautiful. And the way that God showed it to me was that you would find diamond light moments from your childhood. And they're really important. You'll find some pain and suffering, obviously, through your childhood, but you just clean that up and you flood that with divine love from God. But you find diamonds in your childhood that make you feel joy. And your job, as you go through this life review, all your life till you're where you're at now in your age, is you take the moments that are diamond light moments where you feel pure joy, things that make you happy. Those are the seeds that you need to bring into your now of your heart, and you have to water them with God's love in action. So those seeds are the ones that are destined for you to thrive. And, for me, just as an example, music was one of those things. And I remember being scared shitless to do this. That voice of truth and judgments and the things your ego's insane. So you have to basically shut the door on your ego and leave it in another room and deal with your heart and really accept yourself. And the more you water those diamond light seeds in your heart and bring them in service to life, what's interesting is that you'll see them grow basically in a reflection of someone else's love for you. And this love that you get to share as a witness of each other is the nectar of God. And that's actually the most important thing that I think I've ever, as a tool, discovered. And it's not a little thing. You have to really devote practice at this, because in doing it, you can have a lot of, I would say, what's uncomfortable times. But when you serve with something that makes you joyful, it gives you enough strength with God to do it. And that's the thing that starts to reflect in your life. And I think that, you know, when are we in heaven on earth is when we practice and live in action the seeds of the divine love and joy that we have in us. And it's not you know, we've been marginalized for those things all our life and told to do things that have nothing to do with those seeds. So we have to figure out what they are first and harness them and plant them in our garden from the inside out, and take care of them and nurture them as you would, you know, the most precious seed to feed you. So I really believe that that's, you know, important right now. So that's a long answer, but
no, it's beautiful. I'm thank you for sharing that, because I feel sometimes growing up, it wasn't. I mean, I wasn't religious growing up. My parents were very they were New Age, hippie,
yeah,
esoteric, and so our religion was love. Our spirituality is love, but I felt like it was a human love, and that love was given in a very beautiful, direct, practical way. Yet what really has happened, especially since I met my beloved, and when she's introduced really the divine love and the nature of really stepping back and saying, wait a minute, there's a divine power within us, around us, that we can call upon. And many times when we feel alone, or we feel exhausted, or we don't feel courage to call upon that, because it's there for us to be drawn upon, right? It's there for us to bring forth our highest power. And sometimes we just forget, because that relationship has been severed just due to the separation of ideas, thoughts, philosophy, institutions, which again are not right or wrong, good or bad, but it's allowed me personally to say, keep going back to divine within my heart, so that the divine, so I can call upon my I am presence. I can call upon the great creator and invite him, her, it into me, so it can help lift me. And then what the beautiful thing is, now the veil is so thin that we can start calling the creator's messengers, the angels, our power guides, our spirit animals. And I don't know if you've seen this within yourself, because I recently have known this within my 2 years, is our ancestors are like knocking on the door being like, are you ready to hear yet, son? Are you ready? Because you thought I was your father on this side, but now my father on the other side is my biggest guide. And I didn't know, like, with you being a very beautiful empath, and in the celebration of your birthday, that keeps expanding. And it's that trust.
the thing that, like, there's so many layers to that you have to sort of go through, what I would say is an indoctrination of sorts. And that said, you know, it's a big process, as you know, you've been doing it a long time. So everybody has their own sort of, you know, way to sort of, I would say, be introduced to it through their team. For me, I have so many beautiful beings on the other side. And it's interesting because I sort of was the kid that was always, I would always go to a psychic. I would always go to a medium. I would always go to those people as a kid, always. And I also had a call from God. I thought was to be actually a priest. And God's message to me back then was no. So I've always had this inner voice of knowing, and so many layers to that. And as a kid, you know, the Catholic Church did a really good job of scaring you out of it.
Sure.
And quite frankly, it's sort of laughable all these years later, because it's pure love. And there's so much beauty in sharing. I mean, you know, intuitively in your heart, pure love. And for me, like, that's the thing that's sort of laughable now, is all these beings of love to support us, that are always with us. And it's interesting, in First Nations or Indian tradition, there's so many beautiful teachings that are so simple, you know, from the air, the water, the earth, you know, the trees.
Yeah.
And my first indoctrination to all of this was through actually trees and communicating with trees.
Yeah.
And, you know, they are alive as we are, and there is a presence in them, and they are very much conscious. So when we don't, without a tree, you have no oxygen to breathe,
Right.
and they have no gas for them to breathe. So this relationship is very important to understand, and it starts with those sorts of things. And then it moves on to, everything that you've just spoken of. So I love supporting people sort of to tap into that. And we're at that time where we get to sort of play really with it.
And that's so beautiful, because I feel like being children of God, we're here to play. Sometimes I have to remind myself not to take myself so seriously.
Yeah, I know. So true.
It's like because I can get so hard on myself, not only for the impact that I can do on others if I'm not acting in my fullness of love, but I get on myself of like, what am I not doing enough of, or how am I not shining my light in this way, or what's happening in a way I could really help society out, and I keep stepping back, and there's that innocent child that says, play, bring back that play of belief that the magic's already inside of us.
Yeah.
And it's here to roll out in any which way, because yesterday I was walking in a beautiful park, and I can't tell you, the trees without the leaves, because you see more of them, they spoke to me. They're the wisdom keepers, which I've learned. And it's those trees that I literally went up, and call me a tree hugger. I placed my hands around the tree, and I just breathed with the tree, and I felt the tree, and it gave such nourishment. If that for some is their God, so be it. There's so many layers that we can tap into that can allow that divinity to come through, to open up our sacred masculinity, our sacred femininity, our sacred being, because we know those are all consciousnesses of energy. And
100%.
And I feel one of the things that is very important is also, as we are diving deeper in, to recognize that love comes through our sacred femininity to help express the action in our masculinity. And that's what drew me through to you very quickly, because when I feel heart-centered men, and when I hear their passion in your words, or like they it's like, when someone writes something and the words come through the screen, and I'm like, there's my brother. It's been amazing to see how a lot of us are opening up deeper into our sacred femininity, so we can express in our masculinity, and it's a union together. And I feel that's what many of us are here listening to, watching, and I gear this toward a lot of men, to listen to their hearts. You said it earlier, each time I go into prayer, my dad's there, and if I have a problem, the first thing he says is, listen to your heart. What is your heart saying? Because that heart is the love that connects everything to all of us.
That's beautiful. It's interesting, like just being gay for me, it's funny how, and I remember as a kid, like, I've always had messages, and two messages that I had when I was probably about 16 was, there's two things that for me were that they can heal the world. And it was being gay, actually gay people. And the other thing was Black people. And I'm married to, my husband is Black. And, it's interesting because I think this divine masculine has been so, the masculine has been very much ostracized and, demonized in so many ways. And I think it's up to us to make sure, and I am all about supporting divine feminine, but there is a but here. And the caveat is that we need to start doing a better job supporting the divine masculine. And it is actually really important right now, because it is, when we don't have that balance, we're very unbalanced, and we need to really get this balance happening. And I feel that, one of the things that I can say that I've witnessed in the gay community is there's a lot of dysfunction in so many hurt people because of what's happened. But I think that we need to start having, conversations about really the sacredness of actually being gay. And, what that really means is that it means that we are in balance when we do our work, to be, in honor of the male and the female. And, and even science, I always go back to science of even the way that the birth happens. So it's so funny, before we need a seed essentially from a male and a female to basically create life. We know this. But what's so funny is before any sex is really manifested, we're actually the same thing before we're anything else.
Yeah.
We're literally one.
Yeah.
So two seeds come together to be one, right? So that's kind of interesting, male and female, just saying. And the thing that's even more interesting is that the same organs that create the testicles and the ovaries are actually the same thing. Testes go down, ovaries go up. It's interesting that we've defined so much of our human experience based on those two things. And isn't it interesting how basically insane it is, really, that we have defined who's better and who's not? Right. For whatever reason, I don't know. But I will say this, moving forward, we are one in that way, that we get to honor basically life.
Yeah.
And that's really where we get to go back to the drawing board and honor really what's happened is a soul has incarnated into a temple to be the essence of the beloved. Yeah. And when we get back to that, to clean out any programming or belief system that has been indoctrinated from basically humans with an agenda, we clean up this mess. And I really feel that we're at that time where we get to start living basically that clean energy of the divine masculine and feminine balanced. And that's what you do. That's what I'm committed to doing. And I know so many more, it's interesting. I can tell a divine masculine energy in 2 seconds by simply, but the way that it is addressed, most people like you and I will say, essentially, beautiful brother. It's really not that hard. And it's beautiful because it's just sort of like a codex or a lexicon of pure love. Yeah. And I know all my sacred divine brothers around the planet, and I commune with them often, actually. And I'm so grateful to add that beautiful divine masculine to sort of my beautiful family around the world. And we're just holding hands, uniting love. And I feel like when we do this, we're shifting literally the planet together. So I really thank you for just, being balanced.
As I thank you for expressing it so elegantly, because I feel that true expression of who you are is so very important. And I can't express enough to my dear gay friends, my brothers and sisters, because you know what I really feel, what you guys have come before, all of us, not you, but all of us have come, but specifically those that without separation or duality, but the ascension in what gays have brought together as all of us are one. Yeah. I almost feel you are the front liners of coming forward to show and break the identification and break the duality and segregation, because it's almost like we're going to create this journey to really ruffle the feathers of how we're going to label and how we're going to judge, so that we can put the perfection within what we claim opposite sex bodies, but also give the beauty and the expression. Because there is one thing that I've learned that keeps being taught to me about my gay brothers and sisters is their expression is so full on with love and beauty. And it teaches me to express more. Don't hold back. Express more, because there is an expression, aligned or misaligned, because there's the full gamut, which I love and respect. But when the expression comes forward, there's no hold back. And I feel like there's been this journey of where God has given this opportunity for gay, heterosexual, for everyone to come forward, but specifically gays to come forward to break the system, to be the front liners. I'm sorry?
The bridge almost to understand, I think, the relationship between the two. And it's funny because I really feel that, gay people have so much to teach the world about so many things that are so beautiful, that I think ultimately what has happened in life being gay is that we, the gay people, have basically not been the status quo. Right. And it's interesting because we challenged basically the status quo. This was not a small thing. This is a huge thing. And what's really cool when you step back and look at it, what I see in it through my whole self looking at it, what I see in our evolution of, becoming one planet in harmony and peace, accepting love the way that we, in all its beauty and all its forms, is that really many people that are gay had to deal with basically loving themselves before the world would.
Wow.
And it's really interesting when you look at it because, I've done a lot of work on this with myself because I did have a problem with this growing up Catholic. I was very indoctrinated to say that I was going to hell. Okay.
Yeah.
So that being said, what's very interesting when you heal that, you recognize through the adversity that you have much to teach the world about it. And I'm just one of many, I'm not special. I'm gay, yes, but I'm not special in the sense we have done this together. And so have many straight people helped us. And that's beautiful because we've united this truth that we exist. And it's interesting to me that gay people had to love themselves before the world. Mm-hmm. And that particular thing, if gay people could just harness that and talk about that and really open up to the truth of it, I actually think that gay people would really help a lot of people that haven't loved themselves and show them how, so there's so much in that I think will, naturally unfold over the course of time and space. And I'm excited about that because when I see sort of a child accept someone that's different than them, that's beautiful because that's actually the way we are. And that's the human beauty that we get to sort of, I think, actually celebrate now. So anyways.
No, that's beautiful. And I want to thank you for that golden nugget because that ability to love yourself first is really what I find the root of all love is. When we can really, a lot of people we've forgotten, and I knew I grew up in the fairy tale of the Cinderella and the magic, you give love to receive love. And we've forgotten, or we weren't educated to remember that the more I love myself, the more I can love others, the more I can respect and honor. It's this bringing internalization that's already there, and to have that gift of reflection to others that are still even learning to feel what love is, because I know many have not felt that love because there's that, as you know, there's that love and pain barrier where it's almost like they're hip, they're joined. And some people don't know what love is without pain and vice versa.
Yeah.
And when we can start to step back and be like, wow, to love myself, to really take the time to love that creator, the divinity within, and then share that, and then have that ability to reflect that with others, gives even more motivation to see what we can do to bring back but to evolve our peace, our happiness, and light, and our childlike nature. Because ultimately, I feel like we are bringing that innocence back, right? That purity, the child that it smiles at everyone. It doesn't disrespect any, when you see a child, it's like you look into the golden eyes, and it's like we want to come back to that because the child doesn't have judgment or even discernment. The child just accepts everything.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to have that reflection. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for remembering that, because I feel it's so important to bring that message into the fullness and to allow. So
thank you so much for sharing too. I appreciate it.
Oh, so I got a little message. From my beloved, and not to put you on the spot at all, but it is your birthday, and I didn't know. Do you feel it's your call? Would you like to share anything from your beautiful sacred voice? Would you like to share anything in the sense of, it's your call, you don't have to, don't want to put you on the spot, but is there anything you may want to share in your sense of your voice on your birthday today?
You know what? I would do that today. I don't always do this, and I'm not sure how it will sound through the computer because sometimes it gets a little bit distorted. But I will, I'll just sing, I'll sing a little song. So let's just take a minute. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and out through your mouth, and in through your nose, and out through your mouth. Put your hand on your heart. Yes, put your hand on your heart and say I love you, and close close your eyes, feel your breath beneath that beautiful heart in your chest. We'll just leave it simple like that.
Wow, that I could feel it through every monad in my body, and I know singers, the ones I know, put a lot of judgment and pressure on the acoustics on every level, but it came through the screen, it came through the heart, and I just
Good.
want to thank you, because I know it's putting on spots and not the preparation of sharing what you do so naturally, the gift of you coming on and really gracing us with the presence that I just bow in reverence for what you're expressing, what you're doing, and really what we're coming together, because it is a coming together now. As much as we see this illusion on the outside,
Yeah.
as much as we are seeing the fears come up within us, when we can come back to our heart,
Yeah.
and we can feel that divine power, then we know that everything is going to be all right. Everything is going to be taken care of. And it is beautiful beings like yourself on the birthdays that we can celebrate and bring celebration and joy into these moments that I hope to believe that can touch many hearts in celebrating our birthday every day, because you know it's not just today we celebrate you, dear brother, dear beautiful brother, because you are a sacred, dear beautiful brother. It's we celebrate all of us in this one world, one heart, one unity, and the pureness that we get to play in this journey before us. So I really want to thank that opportunity for you today to dedicate your birthday and sharing what has come through, because I love just to be raw and real and just allow it to come through with however the divine wants to share it. And it cannot be more of a blessing to connect heart to heart, soul to
I
soul.
can't thank you. I have to say, I just want to say thank you. I haven't properly said thank you to you for just, I think, holding this space ultimately. And, you know, ultimately we've held space for divine love to flow. And that is with the heart and with the soul, with the Holy Spirit of togetherness is what I like to say. And I know for sure that these moments, although they seem to move slowly through time and space, they are more powerful than we understand, truly. So I really want to say thank you with my life force energy, with my eternalness, with the beloved. Just thank you. And thank you to anyone that's listened live and anyone that will listen in the future, time and space of timelessness, because we are creating heaven on earth, period. So thank you. And there's one ingredient, it's love.
Yeah. It is the love that flows that I feel grateful to share that love on your birthday, because this will always be a memory to meet another 44, which age doesn't really matter, but just the 4 and 4, and then we put it together 8 and 8. We're having a dance, and
I love it.
and so that dance comes forward. Before we leave, I just always want to honor what is on your agenda or what's on your plate, and just want to respect that in the sense of, is there anything that's coming up for you that we can share? Are there any, you spoke about your beautiful campaign, which, sorry to put you on the spot, I just wanted to bring some more birthday blessings, but are there any projects, plans, anything that's coming up that you'd like to share for those that are watching you, so they can become more in love with what you do already? And then obviously what ways they can reach you for those that are watching it now in the replay.
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing is my website is beekindness.com. So it's BEE kindness.com. So the idea is pollinating love and kindness, like the bee. We're like bees, you know, we get to pollinate love and kindness with each other. And when we do, we see wonderful blooms. So that's my website. And the thing that I really, I'm sort of working right now. So I just became a Heal Your Life teacher. So I am actually offering 2 courses. One's running, actually starts next week for 5 weeks in a row. One is on Thursday and one is on Saturday. So if anybody is interested in signing up for that, it's the Heal Your Life teacher program that I'm actually sort of doing a 5-week course on. So just go to my website, there's details there, and my email, just email me if that's of interest. And then beyond that, I'm working on my 8th album, which means I have 7 albums around the world. And it's all to inspire global love and kindness from within and to really help people connect with God. And this relationship between oneself and the beloved is very sacred. And I feel that I sort of like to see myself as a tuner in many ways. I just remind people of to be in tune with that. And my work does that as an Ascension tuning. So just listening to some songs with self-love, and all of them come from God. I am just a vessel. So, just to just give a point of reference to that. So, go through my albums. I have one called Beautiful World, Blessings from Above. The next one's Worthy. The next one is Diamond Light. The next one is Love Expanding Love. Then there's The Miracle of You. And then the last ones are Faith, and then Seeds of Peace. Beautiful. So those are my bodies of work.
And I could not be more blessed and thankful today on your birthday to celebrate your love. I'm grateful to meet another beautiful, beloved brother that I feel and that I resonate as a temple and as a portal that comes through for us to shine toward all humanity in our mission to be love, to act from love, and to really blast that love to everyone that is watching it, to really give hope, to give faith, to give belief, that the more we shine this love, the more we can embody it from the divine, and the more that we know it's already here for us, the more we can shift this world into heaven upon earth. So I thank you, brother, for your beautiful birthday gift, blessing that has given all of us this chance to celebrate you today and to celebrate us today.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. And I wish everyone peace, love, joy, happiness, and prosperity always. And God bless everyone.
Beautiful. Well, I'm going to close down. Hold on for 1 second, and I'm just going to close down. Thank you, everyone, for joining this sacred, beautiful, beautiful show today. I'm touched. I'm filled with light, and may all of you be blessed in the most beautiful way today.